see. Hi, everyone. If you're hearing this, we're getting ready to launch our Crown Path AMAs. I know. So we're going to bring everybody in one by one, and we're going to do a little introduction. All right. Okay, so looks like we can see everyone here. Let's change. Nope. Nope. There we go. Okay, so this will be the best way to do it. So hello, everyone. So for our viewers at home, our guests are going to be Glenn or Miss Morgan and Christine. So first things first, can you guys all tell us how long you've been playing Amtgard and where you play out of in the Northern Lights? Go, or Mr. Gonna go first?
Sure. So I've been playing since the first time I attended was in 2003. I didn't start playing seriously until about 2006, and I fight out of Inland Ocean.
Jasmine Marie.
Again, how about you?
I've been playing since 2011, so 9 years. I play out of Greenwood Keep.
No, you need to stop, please.
Look at everybody.
All right, Morgan.
Let's see. I started playing at Shrouding Mist in August of 1997.
I don't do
And Christine,
that.
how about you? How long have you been playing? Where do you play?
I have been playing for. I have been playing for 11 years since 2009. Gosh, she can go to your house.
No, she can't.
I was originally in DFE before I finally settled in Shrouding Mist.
Awesome.
So what are you doing?
All right. Our stream is about Person Crown. So how many orders of Crown do you have?
So we had this talk. Watch the movie.
Morgan, how about you?
Let's see. Right now, I have my Master and Crown actually.
Awesome. Christine?
I have my 7th Order of the Crown.
And Gen?
I have no Orders of the Crown, but I have a Master Crown. Converted points from the old system.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Same
Orla?
I have 10 Orders of the Crown.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right. So next question. How did you get started in this path? So what was like the first leadership role you took in Monarchy? Why did you do it? Yeah, let's go.
Who do you want to start off with?
Were you asking me to go? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's some of the background noise is pretty loud, so I couldn't hear you. I started out just by being the sheriff of Greenwood Keep, a couple of times champion. I got squired to a crown knight, so that kind of pushed me towards this realm of trying to be a leader and doing stuff. And there was stuff that I wanted to do as a leader. Plus, it's pretty fun to be the king. And yeah, just kind of kept doing it. Called every position except for prime minister and Kingdom GMR.
Nice. So Greenwood Keep was a shire when you first took office?
Yeah. Greenwood Keep was the shire when I first started. Actually, don't know if I've ever been Baron and gone back and done it again.
Yeah.
Been focused on the kingdom too much.
How long ago was that? When were they a shire?
Video.
Was it like
Let's see. I think it was probably 2012 back when I was doing that. 2012,
Yeah.
2013. It was a while ago.
Nice. Awesome. Morgan, how about you? What was your first position that you took?
Damn. Now we're going to go back. Don't mind the peanut gallery. Aki just got home. So my first position was Ducal Regent of Shrouding Mist, and that was God's. I want to say it was.
Couple children ago.
Shoosh. I swear that was about. I want to say 98 is when I took over as being a Ducal Regent for Shrouding Mist.
Awesome.
Yeah. Different day back then.
Do you remember how well that went, like being a regent at a duchy level for your first time? Was it hard or?
It was interesting. There was plenty of people to give ideas from previous members of the monarchy, but also it was just a lot. The arts and sciences was different back then, honestly.
Yeah.
That was back then. It was just we were just starting to use Kitespar.
Right. Was it like still a lot of PVC and stuff?
Oh yeah, we still use. My first weapon actually on the field was a PVC claymore. So, and that was with pipe insulation and making it look like a giant Q-tip.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
This is back when the pound per foot rule was still in act.
Right. Christine, how about you? What was your first office that you held that got you started in the crown path?
The first office I held was Ducal Regent at SM. Shoot, I don't even know.
I was gonna say, do you remember when that was? How long ago was it?
Let's see, I have 5 hydras, so it'd be my first one. I was about 2015 because Jasmine was about a year old.
Yeah. Awesome. And then let's see, Orvis, how about you? What was your first position that you held?
So I pretty much got started in the game, starting my own land. So my first position was as sheriff in a land that me and a few friends had started.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's the first sheriff.
Cool. So next question. We're going to go pros and cons of the new standardization for the crown path versus the old one. So just for our viewers watching, the old crown path was like a point system where you had to be participating in a duchy level or higher office in order to receive a point towards the system. So if you were doing duchy and principality level stuff, you had to have a total of 6 points. If you were doing kingdom only, you had to have a total of 4. It was a really interesting kind of system. And now it's a ladder, more of a ladder award where you have to have 10 and then a masterhood, starting out with Shire level all the way up to kingdom level. So if you're participating at a Shire level, now you can actually start earning those awards towards the crown path, which is cool. Perfect. Okay. So, Ormus, what are a few things that you liked about the old version and things that you like about the new one?
I didn't like the old system.
Okay, great. Didn't like it. Why?
There's very few, so the biggest problems I had with it were, I mean, it was, the problem was it was hard to track. So there was no, since people didn't have the awards, like right now you have awards of the crown, they go on your orc. If you want to know how many, like how close someone is to a crown knighthood, you can just go look up their orc. Where I started at, we didn't do a good job originally of keeping track of who served in what reign. So we all kind of knew what the others had done, but the crown point system wasn't really like official. So when it was time to go back and figure out who had how many points, we had no idea. It was just super hard to follow and unorganized and really subjective, because at some points during the verbiage it said terms served in office, other times it said terms served with excellence, so you get difference of opinions and stuff like that on what counted, what didn't, stuff like that. So the old system was not good.
Is there anything about the new system you don't like?
That's fine. I don't know.
That's fine.
It hasn't been around long enough for me to really have a problem with it. I know that I wish they would have had a standardized Amtgard-wide method of implementing it, but beyond that, I couldn't say that I have a problem with it, because it's only been around for like 8 months now, or a year, I guess now. But
yeah. Morgan, how about for you? Any things that you didn't like about the old system? I mean, you've been playing since 97, you said, right? So was there any other changes in the past? Like, is this the best version? Is this the worst version? Like, what are your viewpoints on the bad stuff from versions?
Well, Ormus touched on it right and everything. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything, keep track of everybody's times in office. So I agree with him on that one. That's one of the downsides of the old system. The new system, with it being ladder and having York and everything, keeping track of all the awards, makes it a lot easier. So that's one plus thing for it going on. Other than that, I actually do like the new system, but I do know that a lot of the kingdoms have had to figure out how they were going to implement the new system, because no one really said how to do it. So each kingdom had to figure it out on their own. So.
Awesome. Again, what about any positives from the old or the new system that you're really excited about, or things you liked about the old one?
I'm excited with the new one that we're going to be able to recognize people for what they do in office a little more, you know. Since we have that award we can hand out. Downside is it's always going to be up to the next monarch to award the previous monarchy, you know. So there could be some issues with that down the line, but you know, same as any other award. But I'm excited for that. Like they were saying, the old system was just weird. You could qualify for crown knighthood after being monarch for a year straight and do nothing else.
Right.
Now you really got to work at it. So this balances, I think.
Right.
It takes longer now.
Kind of turn the path from being like possibly a 1 year path to now it could take you like 10 plus years to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you start at Shire level and you do only one office a year and you theoretically get an award every time and you're like moving up, going to barony, duchy, whatever. Like now it could take you quite a while, but
Yeah.
it's probably better in the long run. Gives you longer time to actually learn the position and stuff. Christine, how about you? Is there any pros or cons for the old or the new system that you like, don't like?
So I really didn't register the old system at all, because up until the new system was implemented, I really didn't, like, people would tell me there was a point scale to it, but I didn't pay attention.
Right.
The new system I like because I've seen over the years, those people that were running for monarchy over and over and over again, and nobody kept track, nobody wanted to award them. Now you can see the path clear, so it's not like you can just run in a year and get your crown belt. It kind of puts a halt to some people who only run for office just for that belt.
Awesome. So let's talk about your last reign. So what was the last position you held? Did it go well? Did it go bad? What are some things that you would change? Morgan, you want to start?
Oh boy, my last reign. That would be when I was king for the last time, and there were good things and there were bad things and there was horrible things for that. Which do you want to go first?
Whatever order you want to go for.
Okay, so let's see. Good things. Basically, during that reign, I tried to communicate as much as possible with the kingdom and everything. Trying to make sure that something was going on all the time, either making sure the region was doing something or making sure there was something planned during a KLE, by working with the lands and or the champion if nobody decided to step up to the plate. Let's see. The bad. Honestly, it was more of a personal failing of mine where I didn't delegate as much as I should have or could have, and that's one of those things you always got to look at and everything. That are you actually asking for the help, or are you just suffering through it?
Right.
And the ugly, well, that was a bunch of personal stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't know what was going on that was taking its toll on me.
Right.
That was, I lost 2 family members during that reign. So that really took a toll on me, especially with being down in Clan and then getting a phone call after you get off site saying, hey, your dad's in the hospital.
Right.
That really takes it out on you mentally, and then him passing the next month and everything. So there's some things that I wish I could do over, and one of them would be delegating more and stepping away more to spend time with family, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about those hardships. It's definitely hard when you're an officer to kind of go through that and make the decision, like, do I keep going? Do I step down? And unfortunately in this game, sometimes if you step down, even if it's for something like that, people don't always accept that reason, or if you're not willing to share that reason, then they judge you harshly for it. So it's tough. It's really hard to focus on the game sometimes and your own mental health. Christine, how about you? What was the last position you held? And then some of the good things that happened, some of the bad things, what would you do over?
The last position I held was Ducal Monarch. Some good things that happened, like it was fun to encourage my populace to travel to other lands and raiding. Bad thing, I no longer like cookies as much as I did at the beginning of my reign. Some of the bad things that happened, like I had to suspend somebody for bad behavior and I felt horrible for it. Had a few bumps, learned that at a duchy level and even a kingdom level, you're going to have a lot of people not like what you do. But I had a lot of fun. The populace was really supportive. And Morgan was the monarch, our kingdom monarch at the time. So it was really great to message him and be like, what is wrong?
Perfect. Anything you would have changed at all?
I don't know if I necessarily would have changed too over much. Usually while I was doing something, somebody let me know if they didn't like something. I tried to change it up then
Mm-hmm.
to better fit it. So maybe I would have had a bit more experience in handling people first.
Yeah.
I have a very, very big fear of being up in front of people, and my populace actually looked away anytime I had to talk to them, which was great. They were totally understanding of that.
That's awesome that they'd be able to support you kind of like that. Let's see, Gan, how about you? What was the last position you held? How did it go? Good, bad? What would you change?
If I could, I'd go back and redo the whole reign. So prior to the one reign we're in now, my last position was Kingdom Regent. And you know, personal stuff does hit pretty hard. My mom passed away in September, right after we started the reign, and then had a baby in January. And that took me away. And then COVID hit, and that took all of us away.
Yeah.
So down the line, I'm gonna get back in the groove and redo the whole reign and make it as awesome as we had started out and planned it to be. You just gotta learn to roll with the hits and know that it's not always gonna go the way you want it to. So yeah, it was interesting for sure.
Right. I'm sure, like both you and Morgan, like you both had your fair share of hardships while being at a kingdom level office, and I'm sure that you were both able to learn quite a bit about yourself, and kind of see like how you handle pressure, and unfortunately, literally in the worst form. But we appreciate both you guys pushing through it and doing the work still. So, let's see, Ormus.
Best I can.
Yeah. Ormus, how about you? Last position you held, and how'd it go? Good, bad? What would change?
I think it went great. So the last position I held was Baron of Inland Ocean. Over this last winter reign, so the end of the reign was the beginning of the lockdown and stuff. And honestly, as much as I'd like to say like change, I would say that it was actually really cool to see how people in Inland Ocean all sort of stepped up, and a lot of them, did a lot of things to really help set the standard for what people should be doing during the lockdown. And so I mean, I don't think really anything bad happened before everything happened. We had to have things like a fun quest, and we had a toy drive that was really successful, and all this stuff. So yeah, it was a really, really good reign. I mean, having to quit doing everything on the internet was a pain in the ass, but
yeah,
right.
Here we are.
We had a lot of outsiders help too. Like Jen stepped up and did I think a couple of videos for us, right? Like some class-based stuff, and yeah, did some stuff to really.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. So next question, I kind of want to talk about like, what do you guys do outside of Amtgard? That brings skills into Amtgard for when you're in a leadership position. So kind of like, does anything from your real life job kind of like mold into there, like schooling, anything that you've really picked up that adds to your leadership abilities? Ormus, you want to go?
Sure. It's hard to say. Like I definitely I some of the jobs I worked, I served as like a supervisor and stuff like that before I started. Oh, I guess it was a little bit after I started, but I would say that not so much as far as like skills. Obviously, like you learn leadership skills and stuff like that throughout your whole life, but I couldn't point to one specific thing that really set me up. It was more like I jumped in and started doing it when I was like 17, or 18, I guess. So it's kind of always been this way. So there were things that helped later,
Yeah.
like having supervisor positions and learning and stuff like that. But it was sort of both ways where I was able to take things I learned from serving in office at an AMP Guard and use it in like supervisor manager positions, stuff like that, as much as the other way around.
Nice.
And just doing it a lot, you learn.
Yeah.
You learn from messing up and doing it better the second time.
Mm-hmm. Morgan, how about you? Anything from the real life world that has kind of made you a better officer in AMP Guard today, or vice versa?
Let's see. 10 years off and on as being a department lead in a warehouse. Basically directing 20 plus people. It's always helpful, I guess.
Right. Learning lots of communication skill.
Yeah, learn a lot of communication skills that way, but you also figure out what people are good at and everything while doing that too, because some people are more suited to doing certain jobs than others. So it's sort of like doing that in AMP Guard. You, as anybody in a monarchy, as a region or as a monarch, you figure out who you can tap as far as, hey, this is a really good artist, and hey, can you do this? And then you have and then you just tap, and you just figure out what people are good at, and try to utilize them throughout your time in AMP Guard as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome. And then is there anything that you've learned in AMP Guard that you've added into your job?
Patience and learning when to shut up.
That's a big one.
It really is. Because sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut and listen and observe than try to think that you know everything and spouting off about it.
Right. Gen, how about you? Anything from the real world that's kind of been applied to your AMP Guard life?
No, you just, like Ormus was saying, take lessons along the way. I think my current job gives me a lot of patience and the ability to talk in front of a very loud group since I drive school buses and kids don't always want to be quiet. So that's definitely helpful. I mean, anything you can do. I'd always recommend taking a public speaking class because that'll just help anybody and everyone who has to stand up in front of a group of people and talk.
Yeah. Okay, for a minute. Christine, how about you?
So I guess before I started AMP Guard, I've been a CNA for 13, 14 years now. So dealing with the elderly people, I learned how to work with arts and science and encourage them. So that really helped me out when I was a regent. AMP Guard taught me the poker face with my clients, so I was able to better do a poker face when they were aggravating, because they can get pretty mean when they want to be. But pretty much it's been kind of a mix. Like I learned things working with people, and then I learned things watching people and seeing how they interact. Oh, that's such a cute baby. Sorry, I have ADO shiny.
No. Awesome. All right. So next question. Who are some AMP Guard leaders that you really look up to, that you talk to a lot when you're in an office position, that you kind of try to learn from? Jen, how about you go first?
I always try to talk to Darius because he's really easy to talk to. He's been one of my favorite monarchs we've ever had. Show, Colton, pulling my beard. Pretty much anybody who's done it before. If I have a question, I can ask. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see, Christine, anybody who really sticks out to you that you reach out to a lot?
Let's see. Well, there's my knight, who's Knight of the Crown. So there's Darian. I've talked to Darius as well. Aristeri, Lady Mom. There's times I've talked to Sho. I've sat down with Duke. I've had lots of conversations with Morgan, as well as current monarchy like Mythius. Him and I sit down and talk all the time about stuff and kind of work it out. So I think pretty much I tried to take something from almost every leader that I can talk to.
Right. Awesome. Ormus, anybody that you really reach out to and talk to a lot?
Yeah, I mean, probably the one I talked to the most is Dogboy. He was really big and influential in leadership roles, especially in the beginning of the kingdom itself. So he's got really good perspective, and it's also really easy for me to get a hold of. And I talked to Darius quite a bit. Duke. Those are probably the three main ones that I tend to reach out to or try to look out.
Make sure you talk. You're not talking to me.
Yeah. I try to kind of sort of take stuff that they've done and put it in my own game, so model my game after theirs a little bit.
Nice. Morgan, how about you?
Let's see. Sorry, slip there. I was usually finding myself like talking to Lady Mom because she's like 6 blocks down the road from me, so it's an easy walk, and so I just go back over to her place,
How you doing?
sit on the yard, and talk to her, and just basically use her as a sounding board, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of people that I've talked to and everything. And there's no set certain amount of people, and honestly, it doesn't even have to mean that they had to be a former monarch or anything like that to talk to. It was just sometimes other people who aren't in the monarchy might be seeing something, and they might just have an idea, and you just have to look at it, just looking outside the box. But I mean, Kaelin, Aristeri, Darian, just a lot of people, as far as who've been monarchs or served in the monarchy positions, they've just been a good help and good sounding boards. I mean, hell, I've had Iris Merlot talk to me a couple times. It's like, hey, you doing this, this, and this? And it's like, yes.
Checking all the boxes.
Yeah, and it's like anybody and everybody's a good person to talk to, even if it's just a sounding board, even though, too. So
That's good. Awesome. So the next question is, what would you consider to be worthy of a 7th to 10th Order of the Crown? So obviously, since we can now give these orders for any land status level, so what do you guys think? Like starting off with 7th, what would you consider being worthy of a 7th Order of the Crown? Dan, how about you start?
I was trying to beat you to the rulebook so I could look up what it actually has written as the guidelines.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is it's so new that I don't think I've actually looked at it. So I was going to look and see what it says. But off the top of my head, I think I'd go for how well the reign was received and run. What they did they seem engaged with the populace? Did they try something new, even if it wasn't very good and failed? And people talk bad about it. At least they tried something. Did they try to be inventive with it? Did they try to push it and progress the monarchy in a good way? And as far as 8, 9, 10, getting up there, even towards Master Crown, look at consistency in leadership in their positions. Have they been a consistently good leader every single time they step up to the plate.
Use a refresher. I have a soda in
That's
the
what I'd look for.
Right.
bottle over there, but it's almost empty.
Let's see, Morgan, how about you? What would you consider worthy for like 7th to 10th orders of the crown?
Well, I know that 7th was usually for duchy level as far as the other ladder awards go.
Yeah.
That's the most that the duchies could give out, and then 8th, 9th, and 10th, and masterhood, that was usually handled by the kingdom or the principality. They were only allowed to handle 8th and 9th and maybe 10th, I think. It's been a while since I looked at.
Up to 9th for the principality.
Yeah.
Thanks. I would be looking at something like, okay, so say like somebody's got the 6th crown and everything, but they're in a barony and everything. So I'd be looking at, okay, how was your reign for your 6th order of the crown, and how does that compare to what you're doing now?
Mhm.
Are you representing the monarchy justly, if that makes sense? Are you where are you trying to
WT.
God, it's finding the words is a little harder lately, but how are you trying to promote your holding
Right.
as a member of the monarchy? How are you trying to be engaged with your populace? How are you trying to be engaged with outside of your own holding too, no less? Because we're only as strong as our weakest link when it comes to the holdings and everything. That's what makes us a kingdom.
Mhm.
Is how we interact with each other. So I would be looking at things like that. As long as they are showing continued growth in the monarchy, and God, I hate when words escape. But as long as they're trying something new, and even if they fail, if they are continuing going at it and everything until they succeed, and even when they succeed, they're going to try to make it better. I think that's something that someone should be looking at when going for those higher awards, if that makes sense.
Right. Awesome. Christine, how about you? What would you consider worthy of a 7th to 10th order of the crown? Like, what would you be looking for if you were kingdom monarch looking to give something out? What are your expectations?
Well, provided I can get there one day, I would be looking at how well did they do the reign? How approachable were they? Did they take advice from predecessors in the past or people who've watched Monarchy on and off that know the game that well? Most of what everybody else has said is something to look for, but ultimately how well they handle the populace at the same time.
Ormus, your thoughts?
I mean, most of it's already been covered. Like, it's got to be for 7th through 10th. It's got to be or like excellent terms, or like for lower level officers, just like consistent good terms over a long period of time. I would say for me personally, if like, at least 8, 9, and 10 have to be for kingdom office. Like, I can't. Like, I mean, it would have to be a super special circumstance to hand out 8 or 9 for anything below kingdom level service. Yes.
Cool. All right, so moving on. What would you guys say is the biggest difference between lions and crowns? Obviously, they kind of walk the same similar path. Like one is like for in office, one is for out of office, but they both encompass leadership. Right. But so, what would you guys say you like and dislike about how similar these are? What are your thoughts on these 2 awards? Again, you want to go first?
Sure. Lions aren't given out a lot. That's what I don't like about them. They're really subjective. I'm looking at my orc, and I have 2. With all of the positions I've held, both land and kingdom, I have 2.
Right. You're a
It's
master
a really
craft
subjective.
too.
Yeah, it's weird. So it's a really subjective award. I feel like Crown might kind of replace it, and as far as the ladder goes, it doesn't really go anywhere, does it? It goes to flame, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you got a split path there, and you follow it all you want, but I don't see them giving out a lot. I don't think we as a kingdom or even as in the individual lands give them out a lot as far as lines go.
Right.
So
Let's see.
maybe get some more definition on what qualifies for a lion would be good
Yeah.
down the line.
Christine, how about you? How do you feel about lions versus crowns?
All right, hold on. Let me roll a diplomacy check here. So I've gotten lions, I've gotten crowns. My lions were for things I did while I was in office that went above and beyond the call of my station. I like the fact that you can get a lion for something other than what you do in office, because sometimes, let's face it, it just needs a lion. But I do see a big problem in the amount of perception. Somebody can deny a crown and say it's a lion instead. So I think those lines need to be clearly defined, so it's a little bit easier.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, he dropped his phone on my foot. Morgan, how do you feel about the 2?
Well, I'm right there with Gen, where I don't have that many lines myself. So, but I always thought that lines were more for helping out while not in office, as far as stuff that the monarchy would normally step out to be doing.
The definition has changed back and forth actually in the game
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah, so much. Sometimes it's in office, sometimes it's out of office, sometimes it's both. Like,
If you look at the comments, Tanner's got a really good point. Rose and Lion are just so intermixed with how they're defined and how they're given out.
Yeah.
So
It's one of those ones. It's tricky and everything. I always looked at lions going out to those who weren't in office, helping out, going beyond, above and beyond for the monarchy, if that makes sense. While those members who are the monarchy already and they're going above and beyond would be given roses. At least that's how it was.
Ormus, do you have any comments?
I think that with I think over time it'll get replaced, because I agree with Brandy in the fact that you can manipulate it right now, where like since lions can be given for in office or out of office, like theoretically, if you have like nefarious intentions, you could give someone their next lion, and then if they do a good job in office, they give them a crown, so you're not building them up in their chosen path into knighthood. But I'm only saying that because I feel like I've seen it done, but there's no need for these 3 awards to overlap so much. So one of them, I don't think it'll be long before one of them kind of just goes by the wayside.
Yeah. Were any of you kind of surprised when they just made the decision not to move Lion over to Crown?
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, that was the perception I had, was kind of like maybe they would just move Lion to Crown because it's literally the leadership award. So I know I was kind of like,
that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised myself at that, because it would have made the most logical sense for that to happen.
Yeah.
They should have used Griffin.
What? Okay, so moving on. So next question. So this is one that comes from a player who submitted the question to me before. So which one is it? So they say, sometimes it seems like people have ulterior motives when running for office. How do you suggest working past that? So maybe you personally are like voting for somebody and you feel like maybe they're the only person running, maybe there's two people running. Like, how do you guys kind of work past that, like getting rid of that mindset of maybe somebody is doing it for the wrong reasons?
I think it kind of depends on your definition of the wrong reasons, because there's definitely like people who run for personal gain. Like if they're running for personal gain and still doing a really good job, all right. But I mean, you obviously don't want to reward people for that sort of behavior. But I don't know. It's an elected system, so we just need to be conscious of who we're voting into office. Right.
Mm-hmm. Again, how about you?
So it's something you're gonna see if you always look at someone going into a position as, they're only doing it to get this thing. Well, we all like to be recognized, right? We're all doing stuff to get recognized, even if we don't care about it, it will get recognized at some point. So you kind of have to let go of they're only doing it to get their blah, blah, blah order of the crown. They're only doing it to get their masterhood. Look at what they do instead of the reasons behind why they're doing it. Maybe they really, really want to try their best, and they are doing their best, but you tainted the view of their entire reign because you think they're only doing it for this thing, and overlook the good that they do for the game. So it's a perception. There we go. That just needs to be altered in how you look at people going for a position. And if you have a legitimate question, if you have a legitimate fear of why someone's doing something, call them out on it. We have elections for a reason. They're always the person running for a position should always be at elections, there to answer questions if people have them. And if you're not going to be there, send them a message, ask them directly. Don't call them out publicly on the main page. People have private messages for a reason. Just send it, ask them a question, move on. No, it shouldn't be. That's how you start a witch hunt and bully people. Just ask them a question. Simple as that.
Awesome. Christine, what are your thoughts on the matter?
So I ran into it. Usually what I started doing was, if I think somebody's running for an ulterior motive, or I've heard they have, I will walk up to that person and be like, all right, so what are your plans? And if it's something I've heard multiple times from multiple people, I'll be like, so this is what they say you want. I mean, I did it with Gen when we ran against each other for Regent. I was like, hey, what are your plans for office? I've got plans. Let's, talk it out. Give them the benefit of the doubt, because you never know. Some people just want a chance, and people just want to ruin it.
Yeah. Morgan, how about you?
Gen pretty much said pretty much almost spot on and everything. The only thing I can add to it is if people are going to think what they want to think. You can't change that. You can't stop it. The only thing you can do is do your best and prove them wrong, honestly.
Well, it kind of depends on the ulterior motives too, because if they're just doing it for an award, that's not that bad of like a ulterior motive. Like I ran for this office because I wanted my next Order of the Crown. Like, if I can go out and fight in a tournament from an next Order of the Warrior, why can't they try to have a really good reign to try and earn the award? So I mean, it really depends on if there's obviously much more reasons people might have done than that, but
yeah,
I don't know. That's comes to mind. Not that much of a problem, I don't think.
if they're running for a position just to like ban somebody or be in the position to do that, that's pretty shady and it needs to be checked. If that's the reason going in, then that's not okay.
Right. Those types of reasons are definitely different.
Yeah.
To be addressed. But yeah, if your concern is that they're running to be selfish because they want an Order of the Crown, that's not really that selfish if they're putting the work in and earning it.
Why do you enter a Dragon Master tournament, man? It's the same thing.
Right.
Because I have to.
The other thing also, the other thing also is just talk to them, ask them, why are you running?
Yeah.
It's relatively easy. You
Yeah,
go up
you,
to somebody, ask. I mean, hell, me and Gen and I had a conversation about this once, about why we were running. You remember that one?
Probably.
was that a few beers
Well,
ago?
no, it was
It's
your
been
first,
a
it was
while,
your
man.
first
So much
time,
stuff's happened. I don't remember a lot of things.
it was your first time running for king.
First time around.
First time you ran for king and everything, and we were at Rosewood, and you came up to me and you said, "Hey, I hear you're gonna declare," and we talked it out. Hell, you wanted to fight with me. You wanted to actually grab my sword and fight with me. And actually,
Okay, that was
Yeah.
at a camp out. That's why I don't remember. Come on, you got to take that with a grain of salt.
yeah,
Never
the problem is that
Right,
problem
King.
is my memory is bad.
Intense lubrications happening at those events that we need to just forget about. Maybe.
No.
That's back to our roots, man. That's back to our roots. That's how we used to be.
Hey,
All right.
well, you can
So
remember
moving
those.
on. So the next question is moving on from like crown masterhood into knighthood. So the question that I got from a viewer was, do you think master crowns need to be able to show leadership and care for their local community before receiving their crown knighthood? So are they putting focus into their land level and not just the kingdom level? So what do you guys think?
I agree with that.
Yep.
Sorry. I think they should. For a little bit there, I caught flack from my own park because I spent, I think, 3 straight years in and out of Kingdom Monarchy and focused on Kingdom Monarchy and just letting the land kind of do its own thing and other people take care there, which, you got to let other people take the positions. But if you're going to be that leader on the big scale, you need to be able to do it on the small scale too.
Yeah.
So I think consistency in service is something you need to look for if you're looking at someone tonight for crown knighthood
It's like having
in
a
and out of kingdom level.
I feel like though, like the question's worded, I feel like if you've hit your 10th order of the crown, those are all things that should have already been displayed. You know what I mean? Like if we're talking about the gap just between masterhood and crown knighthood, I don't feel like there's more that they need to show beyond showing that they're worthy of being a knight. I feel like they've done that. They've been showing that up to this point, and that's why they are where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they shouldn't stop. If they just give up and stop doing anything, that's one thing. But like, they should have been doing that up until that point to get to their master crown.
Right.
Like, because I mean, Gen's got his master crown. He didn't just serve. Well, I mean, he talked about just how he did for a short span, but he didn't just serve at the kingdom level. He showed those leadership abilities at multiple points over the course of years.
Yeah.
So once he does that and he gets his master crown, to be told like, okay, well, like, in order, you know what I mean? Like he's earned it already. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm trying to say is that like it shouldn't be something that starts here. It should have been that way up until this point already.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Christine, what are your views? What do you think?
So I think when it comes to masterhood, it's not just about can they take care of their land, can they take care of their kingdom. I think it's about are they willing to step aside and be that advisory role for other people to step in, like so many others have. I've seen a lot of kingdom, crown knights that will stand there and advise you on what's going on and just let you vent or let you get the stress off of you so you can better handle your office. So I think when it comes to 10th, once you get it, we need to start looking at, like, again, has led a lot. However, I also think, I believe he's helped people in his land lead and people around the kingdom that ask advice. So are you willing to be an advisor as well as a leader to better help the new leaders?
Yeah. Morgan, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, between Dan, Christine, and Armis, I think all three of them have touched on everything that encompasses all that question. There's nothing really much I can add to it
Carrie,
because I mean, if you're in the kingdom offices, you're going to not only focus on the kingdom, but you're also going to look back at your own park as well as other parks too, and help them out in any which way you can. So, and you're also going to be an advisor. You're going to do whatever you can to help other people.
Okay.
Sorry, I just looked down and Gavin was just like, under the camera is so good.
Something fell off my wall. I had to move it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. All right, so the next question is, should someone receive more than one Order of the Crown for serving in one single term in a reign? Morgan, how about you start off with this one?
Oh God. See, this is a tough one. Because honestly, it would have to be one heck of a phenomenal reign, but I can see it somewhat happening at the lower levels, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I would see that like, hey, we're going to give you your age, and then we're going to give you 90 on top of that just for one reign as like regent or prime minister or whatever. But I can see it happening at the lower levels more so.
Mm-hmm.
Like one through let's see, Orders of the Warrior 1 through 4 or Battlefield Crowd. So I could probably see something like 1 through 4, maybe 5 pushing, but that's about it. I couldn't see it at the higher levels. It wouldn't make sense.
Christine, how about you? What do you think?
So I wouldn't so much agree with giving somebody 1 or 2 Orders of the Crown for one reign, because that can be viewed as stacking the deck in their favor, and it can actually hurt the person more. I think I would prefer to see, we gave you this, you did a really awesome job, so we're going to give you your next order, but at the same time, we noticed these things you did, and we want to tie those into, let's say, Lions, to maybe start helping them on a different path as well, because that's what you're doing.
Right. Ormus?
I would say like it should probably be pretty rare, because I mean, like, you can make the argument that if someone steps up into, like, it's possible for people to have been in office for years and years at this point and have 0 Orders of the Crown because of the nature of how they were, how the transition happened. Because if you didn't have, you could have been a baron for, like pretty much 5 years straight. There's no points that came from that in the old system, so you wouldn't have received any crowns from that. So, I mean, if someone like that were to step into Kingdom Office and serve like this amazing term as king, and it would feel weird to give them their first crown. But at the same time, there's people who, can have like 2 or 3 Orders of the Warrior and go fight in a Kingdom level tournament and win. They're not going to get their 7th.
Right.
They're going to get their next one. So, I mean, I could see arguing both sides. It would have to be pretty spectacular, in my opinion, to get a second one. But I do like the idea that Brandy said of having another supplemental one, like 1 crown and like 1 rose, or 1 crown and 1 lion, something like that, to make it seem a little less ridiculous to just get your first for something like that.
Yeah. Again, what are your thoughts?
So I think it depends heavily on the reign, honestly. The last, I finally couldn't get it up on my computer, so I pulled it up on my phone for the crown ladder. The last sentence in this is, this award may be stacked when given for a single term of office, and groups are encouraged to do so. So they kind of encourage you to give out multiples for a single reign. So if it's a really good one, I could see it. If they do, reigns right after the other, one after the other, and just continue to do a year straight, a lot of people see that as a single reign.
No,
even though it's
yeah.
Huh? Yeah, and you could give them 2 or 3 for that, because they spent a whole year of their life running your park. You know, you could do like I did. I spent a year and a half, I think, straight in monarchy, kingdom monarchy. It was a regent and then a king for 2 reigns. So you got to look at that kind of stuff, the length of servitude, and I mean service, not servitude. So there's a lot of variables that go into it, but I think it's just on how well the reign went and how the monarch giving the award out feels and how recommended it might be if you get recommendations for, hey, give this guy a crown or something like that.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, I didn't even think about what you were talking about because you have to wait for essentially the next monarch to step in. You could theoretically have 2 reigns back to back. I definitely would clarify that I'd be totally cool with multiple awards because it's multiple reigns. That would be weird to like try and say you only get one because it was a year. But
yeah, because some people see, you know, 1 year reigns is just one reign because you're the same person in the same position
yeah,
for that long. Well, no, it's 2. I ran for it twice and got it. So
I'm
that's
curious.
something you need to look at.
I'm curious as to your opinion on that last line in Order of the Crown. Do you think it's a temporary thing and that allows people to catch up in a system that's new, or do you think that'll be the standard? Because I kind of viewed it to catch up.
Yeah, I think it's there to probably catch people up in the conversion from the old system to the new one.
Right.
It could go away in a year or 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be gone whenever we get V9 up. So.
Right. I think too, like my personal opinion, like there's a lot of shires where they don't have all 5 and sometimes not even like the main 3 positions filled. So if you're the sheriff of a shire and you're also the prime minister and the regent theoretically because there's nobody else, like I feel like I personally would award more than 1 Order of the Crown for that because you're doing not only 1 person's job, you're doing 3 persons' jobs, you know. I had to do that at a duchy level one time and it was incredibly hard. So I mean, I feel like
that's definitely something that a kingdom monarch and monarchy needs to keep an eye on. If they know they have a shire or a small park that's struggling like that, and they just see 1 person knocking it out of the park, you know, stack them.
Right. Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Yeah, just go for it. Bills.
So my next question is like obviously the crown path, you're in monarchy, like how familiar are you guys with the Northern Lights Corpora? Like do you feel really confident on it? Do you not? Like what are you guys how do you guys feel on the Corpora?
You know, I give it a once over, you know, skim it, read certain sections before I jump into any position. But for like the timing of things, I always double check, especially, you know, if I'm a monarch and I'm making a schedule and stuff. And we have criteria on when things need to happen before other things and within a certain time frame. So that's something you got to keep an eye on. Personally, if there's a question, I'll go back and read it. I don't think I need to memorize it like the rule book. You know, memorize the rule book for battle games so I can have it on the fly. But usually in a Corpora situation, there's time to go and read it and look it up and know, you know, for sure what it says word for word because you're looking right at it.
Yeah. Christine, how about you? How do you feel about the Northern Lights Corpora?
So I can't read it word for word, but I do know where to find things when I need it. When I was Monarch of SM, it was really easy to go, wait, what's in the rule book? What's in our Corpora? Oh, hold on, I'll just look it up. So I think definitely just having a basic knowledge of knowing where to find things helps a lot more than knowing it word for word because it changes every once in a while.
Right.
Although I do have to agree with Sho, it is Band-Aid on Band-Aid on Band-Aid, and we do need to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah. Morgan, how about you? How do you feel about your knowledge on the Corpora?
I give it like once or twice over and everything right before I'm going to think about running for a position. just to see what's changed and everything. I mean, we got the change logs and everything that tells us exactly what's changed, which is nice. But just going once over, I know like the basic ones and everything, like what all the positions are responsible for and everything. But then as Ken said, you need to make sure you have seats in everything for certain positions, like Prime Minister or for like the monarch. Those
Right.
guys are what's saying with the schedule as far as what's gotta happen when, guys. And at that point, you might as well just set it a reminder inside on your phone for a calendar and everything. Say, okay, go off on this day because this is what needs to happen.
Right. Ormus, how about you? How much do you feel like? How comfortable are you with the Northern Lights Sephora?
Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
6 or 7. Actually, I've read it quite a bit recently with everything going on.
Update because it's too many Band-Aid on
There's-
Band-Aid.
The main thing that my knowledge falls short is exactly like
It's easier to fix it.
with like the certain events that have to fall within a certain number of weeks of each other, like exactly which ones fall where. I always get a little bit twisted around on that one, but I feel like I'm pretty familiar with it.
Awesome.
I think
Yeah.
everyone should try to be as familiar as possible with it.
I also love the Kapora certified for the testing. That makes it so much easier. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was done.
If there was like one section you guys could change or add to in the Kapora, is there anything specific that you would like to see changed? Let's start off with Morgan. Anything you would change?
Oh God. Number everything right, for God's sakes. I can't honestly think of anything. One thing to like pinpoint on what I would change first and everything. I would but definitely an overhaul and just like Brandy said and everything, and quoting show on that, it's Band-Aid upon Band-Aid upon Band-Aid. Ugh. But I really honestly couldn't give you a straight answer on which I would want to change first.
Yeah. Christine, how about you? Anything that you would change?
Sorry, Vay had me laughing in the background here. So to be honest, I would fix the Band-Aid on Band-Aid. I would try to get it as up to date as possible. Also, I would try to clear up a few areas that seem more like gray areas than anything. So monarchs can get in trouble for doing something that they think is right when it's going to get a lot of blowback. I saw that happen with Duke, especially.
Yeah.
I would kind of clean up those areas.
Awesome. Again, anything you would change?
The whole thing.
The whole
It needs to be rewritten. It needs to be torn down and rewritten from the bottom up.
Yeah.
It really does. There's too many holes, too many gray areas, too many what ifs and unclear bits and things that officers need to do that aren't listed under their position but are somewhere else that you need to track down. It just needs to be redone and clarified beginning to end.
Ormus, anything that you would change specifically?
The everything option's been taken already, so I would change how restrictive some of the standards are for the tournament the champion has to run. If you're a champion, you get one thing that you get to do where you really get to show off what you can do and like you get like one event day that's specifically yours, and that's like running the weapon master and stuff, and you're really limited on how you get to do it because of how many restrictions there are. I just think it's heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And not necessary. But that's just finding something that affected me once and wasn't the everything answer that is probably more accurate.
I know for me, I would start off by like taking away all the stuff we never use. Like we have that order of precedence table, means absolutely nothing. Why is it in there? Take it out. I would take out the Kapora committee. We've never been able to form it since Northern Lights has been a kingdom. So like it's just a waste of space. So many things I would just get rid of. All right, so we're gonna start opening up the questionnaires from our viewers. So it looks like we have about 11 people watching. So guys, if you have questions, please start typing them up Looks like the first one, Joe's got a question, so let's pop this up real quick. So he says, do you guys feel GMR should have a place in Order of the Crown? Do they qual crown eligibility? Do they qualify for crown eligibility?
I think they do now.
Yeah.
I think so. I didn't.
More on the offense.
Yeah, let me pull it back up and look.
Christine, do you think that they should, even if the rule book says yes or no? What do you think?
I think they should because, let's face it, the champion doesn't feel as much heat on our field as a GMR does if somebody doesn't like their decision. So they constantly have to be neutral. They constantly have to be up on the rules. They have to make sure everybody's safer than anything else, and they forego a lot of gaming to be able to do that. So I think, yes, they should.
So under the crown section in the rule book, it just says awarded for serving with excellence in office from the local level to the kingdom level. So it doesn't actually specify. It doesn't have wording in there for, monarch, regent, champion, prime minister. So since GMR is a kingdom position, they have to be voted in, and they do have a say on some really important stuff most of the time. And yeah, should definitely get crown points for that.
Yeah.
If they're doing this stuff.
Morgan, what do you think?
Yes, they should. As far as I'm concerned, they should be awarded crown points if available and everything. Just the simple fact is, they're there acting as basically the head referee for our battle games, and they create the test that all the members of the monarchy basically have to take before even running for office. That, and they're part of the training because them, the monarch, and the prime minister, they have to weigh in on pretty hefty things at times. So yeah, definitely.
It's a hard job.
Yeah, it's a hard and thankless job.
Or any thoughts?
Oh, no.
No thoughts. Okay.
No, it's already been said. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I also agree that GMR, especially at the kingdom level, GMR is one of those three people that has the right to suspend people with the rest of the monarchy. They're involved in some very hard decisions, and so rewarding them, I think, is really important.
Yeah, you can't give them a bunch of responsibility and then say that you're not eligible for awards, though.
Yeah, sorry, I can't get nothing except for a walker in the middle or whatever. Let's see, any other questions? You guys start flowing through.
I have a question. Why can't I comment as Trevor instead of Inland Ocean?
Sorry.
Technology.
Yeah, he's one of the admins on the Inland Ocean page, and sometimes you're supposed to be able to switch to commenting on it yourself, and sometimes it doesn't work.
It's automatically reverting me back. So if you see comments there from Inland Ocean, that's me.
Yeah,
it knows it's
technology.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll ask a few more of mine since nobody else is typing up yet. Let's see. So with obviously, we had this whole overhaul of awards. We have a ton of people who are at 7+. We've got many of people who have their master crowns. Some who don't even play anymore. But do you guys foresee us having a new crown night anytime soon? Within the next 2 years, do you think anybody's going to get knighted? Christine, how about we start off with you?
I'd like to say yes, but I can't say for sure because I don't know what goes on the Knight Circle. I kind of intentionally stay away from that as it's still kind of scary to me. But I would hopefully like to say yes. I've seen a lot of people want to step up and be leaders, and I'd like to see a new Crown Knight soon.
I think one of the things too is that there was a lot of drama involved with how Orders of the Crown were converted. I think it's going to make monarchs shy away from awarding new master crowns and stuff like that for a little bit. But 2 years, there's enough people qualified. There should be someone, right?
Yeah. Ben, what do you think?
I'm at the point where I kind of hope it happens because I'm one of the qualified people. So I gotta be the optimist and say, yeah, it's gonna happen, but I'm not counting on it. It's up to the Night Circle and their decision, and then it's on the Monarch to do what they feel is best at that given time. So I think it could happen for sure. We'll see.
Morgan, any thoughts?
2 years, I can see it. I mean, 2 years, that's enough time and everything for either any of the people who already have their Master Crown or other people working their way up and everything. I can see it happening in 2 years, probably. If it happens, it happens, though. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's gonna be the job of the Monarch, and to lay down another Master Crown, but then it's gonna come down to the Night Circle to vote one in.
Right.
So it's all. It could happen. Honestly, I'd like to see it. I like to see any of the people who have worked their way up for this to have it happen. Because, hey, they deserve it.
I think one of the things Northern Lights is sort of like lacking in is new knights now too. Like there's a lot of more. I think some of the more recent knightings for like second belts and stuff. I feel like there could be a benefit to new blood in the Night Circle. You know, I'm not taking shots at the Night Circle. I'm just saying.
No, it's literally what Show just commented. That's funny. Yeah.
Oh, get out of my brain.
And he's on the Night Circle, so that's fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Duke, I got many questions from my questionnaire, so I'll try to let me browse through it real quick and see if there's any I didn't ask. Oh, so this is a good one. So after you've completed a term in office, do you reflect on the job you have done? If so, what are some of the things you would or should have done differently? And have you ever walked away feeling satisfied with when you have left office? So we kind of talked about this a little bit. But I really want to pinpoint, like, how do you guys reflect on the office that you did? So not necessarily about like receiving awards, nothing like that, but like, do you reach out to people afterwards and talk about it? Do you take notes about whatever? How do you guys handle that? Christine, you want to go first?
Sure. So I try to reflect on it. Usually I try to ask for criticism throughout so I can fix it, but generally for me it's did I act quickly in having to deal with an issue? If not, can I act better? Mostly I try to take all of the advice and my experiences and just make it a better experience the next time overall.
Mm-hmm. Ken?
I always think about it, you know, like what could I have done better? What did I do really well that I can carry forward? What didn't work? What did? It's always a learning experience when you take an office, especially on the kingdom level. So you need to carry that forward. And I always ask people afterward, like my friends and stuff, like, hey, how do you think I did? What didn't work? What could I do better? And that's just how you build yourself up. You really need to, because, I mean, self-reflection is important. Realizing what you didn't do right so you can fix it next time is really, really good. I think the reigns I walked away feeling the best is when I've been, you know, champion and regent. I always have the most fun with those. You just deal with a lot of drama when you're a monarch. That isn't always the best. So, is what it is.
Morgan, any thoughts? What do you do when you reflect?
Honestly, I think back. It's gonna sound sad or funny or however you want to look at it. I look back and count how many times I said shit during when I was in office. Just because things happen, and it's like shit. It's like, and it's like, how many times did I say that during the rain and everything? It didn't have to be out publicly. It could have been behind the scenes or whatnot. But it's like, how many times? And if I don't say it that often, then I think, okay, I did pretty good here. Now, let me go ask people. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get some honest answers from them. It's like, okay, how did I do? What do you think I could have done better? What did you see I did well? And just getting those opinions, getting that other outside perspective from your that's not you helps build up for the next time you want to do it.
Ormus, how do you take time to reflect?
I mean, I feel like for the most part, there's always like when you talk about the things, like there's things that you didn't get done. You always, it's not that you have to actively reflect on that. It's like that's in the forefront of your mind when you step down. You're like, damn, I really wish I could have gotten to these things or stuff like that. But I mean, there's obviously they've all talked about like talking to people and whatnot. I feel like I come from a group that's fairly proactive in their not reviews, but you know what I mean, like in their feedback. So if you did a good job, they're gonna let you know, and you know if there's something that you could have done better, you're gonna hear about it too. But yeah, I mean, you have to kind of accept that you can't get everything done as long as the land is a little bit better. Yeah, at the end, that's all you can hope for.
Let's see. Looks like Sirik has a question. So he says, outside of the panel, who else from the lands would you like to see step up into Kingdom local office for a chance to do well? So this would be like somebody you guys haven't really seen at a Kingdom level before. Maybe they've done it once and they haven't done it again. What do you guys think?
I don't think I have a specific person in mind. Like, I can only speak to like for the most part. I can speak to. Well, no, okay. So there were some. I know that Heron was super active in pushing forward, making changes, stuff like that, and that's the type of person we need in office. So I would say Heron, and kind of there's I was gonna say I can only speak to people from Inland Ocean, and there's a few there. There's also I'm also friends with a lot of people in GWOC. There's a couple there like Gallienus and I always forget his name. Gregory. I want to call him Edgar because we have an Edgar and one last name, so I get confused. Sorry. I bet those guys would do really well as well. Hopefully I'm stealing Gen's answers here. Stepping on toes. But Killian's been doing a really good job at Inland Ocean. Unum actually mentioned in the comments that he's only comfortable running for Regent, but I think he would be perfect for pretty much any of the offices at the Kingdom level. But it's all about people who are comfortable, though. Like, if you're not comfortable, don't do it. Like, wait until you are comfortable, find ways to become comfortable. But it's a tall ask. But that's my list of people. Sorry again if I stole a bunch of yours.
Morgan, do you have anybody that you would like to see step up into the Kingdom level offices?
Well, Ormus just said the one that came first into my mind. That's Killian. I would actually love to see Killian step up to the Kingdom offices and everything. Outside of that, oh god. I mean, he's already in the Kingdom offices, so it's like, I mean, I love having him as a GMR. I would love to see what he could do with like Champagne if he ever decides to run for that at the Kingdom office. Because he's got that energy for that type of stuff. There's already been a champion. I mean, there's probably a list somewhere that I've written down. Is like, who would I love to see actually step up into like the kingdom offices, or even land levels first to get a taste of what it's like, and then step up to kingdom, just see how they do. But it's like some of the people have already stepped up. So it's just like, okay, where's my list? Yeah.
Awesome. Chris, is there anybody you would like to see step up into a kingdom level office?
Oh gosh, so many people. Mostly what I would like to see out of just, not even including this panel, people that want to try it, people that want a chance to show what they can do. Anybody new that wants to step in, I want to see them get there. Minus Tanner Hall, if you run for Summer Rain next year, you're going to have to go against me. Sorry. Pretty much, I just want to see us go back to giving people a chance to do the job and get the new people in there.
Yeah. Again, anybody specific that comes to your mind?
Erin, first off the bat, always. She's been Monarch at Greenwood Keep a couple of times since she started playing, and she is incredibly well organized, like more organized than any other Monarch I've ever experienced. So I'd really like to see her have her shot at the kingdom level. Anybody coming back? I'd like to see Darius come back when he gets his life figured out. But I'd like to see him come back and do Monarch again. That was fun.
Me too. That's fine. Okay. So Tanner says, so he doesn't really have a lot of interest in holding any leadership office other than regent, mostly due to his own stuff, but in part due to the flack people get all the time from all sides. So what are your thoughts on trying to improve the stigma of holding office? So like essentially encouraging people to do it so that way they don't get a bunch of negative stuff all the time. I mean, we all know that being in office can be one of the most difficult things you do in Amtgard. What are your guys' thoughts on making it a more positive experience so that way people want to actually do the job?
It's hard, Royal. I guess it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I think
That
just
is.
showing your support for whoever's in office currently and trying to be an example of what the populace should be towards that person, because we all know it's a difficult thing to do, and if we're on the sidelines bad talking them, it's just not gonna make it look like an inviting thing to do for somebody who might like, hey, I want to do that someday, but if it's gonna be like that, no thanks. So we got to be a better example. Anyone and everyone on the outside looking in, try to make it easy for them.
I think it's I think the only way to really do that, and I'm talking about of eliminating some of the flacking, like it would require a full-on culture change. Because I feel like right now there's sort of culture, and it's a lot of like at the end, like let's say Gen was king, and I get elected next. It's like it seems to me, and I could be wrong because I haven't really been behind the scenes much, but it seems to me there's a lot of like, all right, now bye, have fun, instead of like a little bit of an overlap, like a little bit of cohesion, working with the next person to make sure they're set up for success. It's almost like combative sort of system that we have, and also I don't know. We need to make sure, like, if you're like we're people running for office are prepared, making sure they've kind of grinded enough at the local level to make sure they're prepared for the kingdom level, like local levels where you really need to go learn, make a lot of mistakes, do all that stuff, and then hopefully that helps you succeed more at the kingdom level. But we just have to make sure I think it's an issue in communication, really, like between like not being really good. I feel like at giving or receiving constructive feedback, not having much in the way of overlap between. There's not like it doesn't seem to be much of a relationship between former and current monarchs and soon to be monarchs, stuff like that. I feel like it's all kind of a recipe for a really combative and really hostile almost system that we currently operate in. And I could be off a little bit, but that's kind of how it seems.
You're not very far off the mark.
No.
It's very you go into coronation at our campouts or whatever, and it's all of a sudden you're monarch. Here's all your stuff. Peace.
Mhm.
No
Right.
debrief.
Peace out, Cub
No
Scout.
handing off. No nothing.
Well, and that
If you're lucky, you might get something, but unless it's written down somewhere that there has to be, and I feel like that's why we have the grace period of like a week or two built in between elections and coronation. That you should really take advantage of, figuring out where this person that you're taking over for is leaving off, of what they're trying to do, and what happened, and anything that you might need to know coming up. You should really take advantage of that time, but I don't think people often do.
Well, communication is at an all-time level of ease with Facebook Messenger, with groups, with texting, all that stuff. So there's no reason that 2 weeks or whatever the week that Gen's mentioning between when you're elected and when coronation happens, that like the current monarch can't reach out and be like, hey, look, these are things like projects that are going on, things that we're dealing with, and set them up for success. Like instead of like Gen says, where you step up and it's just, all right, well, bye, like have fun, good luck. Like I just think it's a little bit more cooperation would probably go a long way into helping set people up for the future and not deal with quite as much blowback. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. I'd like to see Duke come back because he's like mad at me.
Awesome. Morgan, Christine, do you guys have any comments on that subject?
I think for me, it's a matter of like I had to learn over running to make sure to message somebody if there was a question I had for the incoming monarchy, like something just didn't line up or I wasn't used to it. I had to remind myself, and I really hope people take it and start doing it. If you see something that doesn't make sense, private message your incoming monarchy. They may not be aware that they're making a misstep. So rather than criticizing them in person, give them a chance in private to figure out what they're doing wrong or what they've missed so they have a chance to fix it, rather than everybody just jumping on a new monarch and going, oh, you're not doing this right, or a new regent going, well, this is what happened in the last reign. It's a new reign, it's a new person. Private message them and give them the chance, which is something I've started reminding myself to do.
Drop my
I saw a comment in there from Joe saying that the transition process should happen during Month of the Crown. I almost feel like you're risking taking a little bit of shit if you do that. Where like if let's say I'm running for king, so if I were to reach out to our current king during Month of the Crown and say, hey, like what's going on, it might be viewed as like hubris, sort of like, oh, you just assume you're gonna win, so you want the information. I'm not saying that's a good like positive way, but I feel like that's how it'll be received.
No, I think the current monarchy should sit down with both all the candidates running for that position and give them an update so they know.
Well, also, I feel like that might be important because, like, what if there's some, like, really bad stuff going on that nobody's aware of because it's, like, like, maybe somebody's getting in the works of being suspended because something awful happened. Like, if I'm one of those candidates running and I'm like, whoa, that's way too much for me, like, that gives, like, that person an opportunity to, like, bounce out and be like, no, that's way too much. So, I think...
or just saying.
Yeah, like, I think having that communication with those candidates would be good, like I think it's almost necessary. You need to know the job that you're possibly walking into before you actually step into it.
I hope we answered your question, Tanner.
Yeah. Maybe we got off the rails there, but I don't know.
Well, I mean,
With like, go ahead, Ruth.
well, it's one of those things that it wasn't uncommon for someone to like come up as they're thinking about running for an office that they know I've held. They would come up to me and say, "Hey, so what can I expect for running in this office all entail?" And honestly, I'd look at them like, "Okay, do you want the honest answer or the sarcastic answer?" And if they act, honestly, because like if you ask for sarcasm, I'd say it's the greatest job ever, and they ask, well, "What's the honest answer?" It's like it's the greatest job ever, but you're gonna have all these things. However, if you still want to do this, I'll be in your corner. I'll give you advice. I'll give you help if you need it. That's the type of people we really need.
Yeah. Awesome. So it's 8:30, so we're only going to take a few more questions because obviously everyone here has a real life and needs to get back to what they're doing and that.
Stay here all night.
Yeah.
Stay here all night.
No.
So, show
got pizza
research
waiting for
the
me.
previous question.
gotta work
But
at
is there
2 o'clock.
anyone that you guys would like to take as like a leadership apprentice? To kind of teach them.
I was thinking about this when I saw the show commented, and honestly, anyone who would approach me and say, you know, they'd be interested in something like that, or someone new, at a park level, one of our new players stepping up for like saying, "Hey, I want to be regent or something," or even Baron, Greenwood Keep. They can. I can take the initiative there and just be like, "Hey, I've been doing this for a while. I've done this before. I can help you out if you need it. I'm here to talk to you." That kind of thing. So
Yeah.
open door when it comes to people asking questions is good.
Anybody have a specific apprentice that they would take up?
I don't think I have a specific one. I think it's just if I'm in office and somebody says, "Hey, I want to try that," then I'm going to do everything I can to have them shadow me or another member of Monarchy so they can see the position they want to do. So for me, it's a case by case.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a little weird saying like sort of taking them on as apprentice for like a leadership type of apprenticeship because like I don't want to imply that they don't already possess leadership skills. But like when we were making the transition between my last reign and Killian's reign, we like because we have like our monarchy chat, like the monarchy of the land has their own little chat group and stuff like that. We brought Killian in to make sure that he was up to date on everything that was going on and sort of like give ideas that could be carried on into the next reign. But like as far as like an apprenticeship, maybe like Imogen. I don't know. Imogen's doing really good in her office, so it's like it's hard to say like as an apprentice, but like I would make like she would be a good one I could see doing really good things in the future, and as I would view an apprenticeship like that mostly as making sure she understands how the offices work and just things to look out for and just stuff like that because she's already got leadership skills, but it would just be trying to help her avoid some of the potholes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say originally I would brought up the Killian thing, but I feel like he's pretty well established as really neat. He's already held office a few times and he's gone through this reign, which is brutal. So I think he's already kind of there. He has a need for that. Yeah. So if I specific person, Imogen's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I get it. I just wanted to let you know.
Just kidding.
Michael had a question. Oh, okay. So Missiness says, do you feel that even if a person doesn't do well enough in an office to earn a title, that they should still get their crown?
Yes. I mean, if I'm understanding the
It
question, right,
depends.
oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, depends on the level of crown, maybe. If they don't have an order at all, and they step up for, say, champion, and you as a monarch don't feel they've done well enough to get their defender title, go ahead and give them their order of the crown. Recognize their service a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing we haven't talked about is titles, but yeah, to recognize their service. It's situational, I'd say.
It's super case by case. Like, I kind of view them as two separate things. Like, because someone could do a job, like serve in your office, do your thing, you do a good enough job to earn a crown, but that doesn't necessarily mean I think you should be a duke. Like, that doesn't take away from your crown award. Just it's to me, it's a separate enough thing that I don't see any. Yeah.
Christine, Morgan, any thoughts on that?
For me, I think it's really easy. If you're not sure if somebody did a good job or not, definitely look at their titleage. If you might be able to give them a title, I agree with like Gen Enormous. If it's their first couple of orders, go ahead and give it to them. They stepped up and went through the stress to get it. Other than that, be neutral. Get a panel together. Ask a few people in and out of office if you feel they did a good job and if they deserve it. That's the true way to be neutral on it. You might think they didn't do a good job, but somebody else might think they did.
Yeah.
I'd say give them the crown, yeah. And if you're really tossing it up on the title and everything, you can always do the same thing I do. Go to people who have that title, ask their opinion. You're basically you're going to give them a title that puts them into the same ranking or same peerage as other people. So say like if I was king right now and I was having the opportunity to give the title a count out, I would go to all the counting countesses and I'd ask their opinions on said individual.
Right.
Because it makes sense that way. I mean, I did that when it came to the paragons that I gave out.
Can I comment on this conversation that Gen and Show are having?
Honestly, I can't see this. I can't see this.
Oh, do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I can share.
My bad.
So Show says, the Order of the Crown become the new Hydra. I mean, I would definitely say no. Hopefully not.
I think that's going to be
true.
Really culturally, like, and it should be, because Hydras are pretty automatic. But
Hydra should be automatic, but they're not always.
No.
Yeah, if
I think I only have 5. In the amount of times I've qualified, I should have over 10. But
people keep forgetting about them.
Yeah, it's weird. Crown leads somewhere.
I served in office for like 6 years. Like,
Hydra used to.
And had 0 Hydras. Yeah.
I mean, Hydras are participation trophies if you think about it. Even if you don't get it, you get a Hydra.
Yeah. Well, it's not
always.
Recognition
but the thing is I think it's the same thing. It's doing the thing, you get the award, is what Show's kind of going for there. Just holding an office mean you get a crown every single time. I don't think so. But I mean, that is 6 months of time invested in a position and trying to do something. So, and even if you get an Order of the Crown every single time, you'd have to stay in monarchy constantly for 5 years to get it, to get 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to take time. I don't see that as a bad thing, honestly, if that's the way it works out, but it just depends on who awards the thing.
It's just like I feel like the standards will be different. Like, cause with Hydras, like it was mentioned as a participation to get elected. But like it's completely separate from the election itself. It's just recognition that because I could get a Hydra, I'm not even running for office if I put enough stuff into crowd.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just recognition that you did this work, and it doesn't You don't get a knighthood out of it. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just a fun thing that you can do, either option or either like I feel like Order of the Crown, at least the way I view it, it definitely has standards and things that you have to meet beyond just sitting on the throne, no matter what size of throne.
Well, also, oh, go ahead, Rainey.
Sorry. See, I view, because I've got 5 Hydras and I've only been in office twice. So when I say it's a participation trophy, you qualified to run for office, but you didn't get it. Congrats, you did a thing. Whereas when I got my 7th crown, I wasn't expecting it, and I was like, holy crap. So I think they definitely should not become the same thing. I think they're definitely different.
Yeah. Well, and I actually do things like griffins and hydras, Jovius. Like, the rules of play even state that like other awards that are not necessarily ladder awards should be taken into consideration when somebody is being brought up for their knighthood. Like, that's in the rules of play. So yeah, if you're a master crown, you have 0 hydras. Like, that's kind of weird to me. Like, did you ever even qualify for your office? Like, that's how I look at it. Like, if I right, and like that's kind of odd. Or like you have 0 lions and you're coming up for your crown, like even though there's 2 different paths, like are you helping outside of office too? Like the awards all kind of like help each other and support each other, and so it's like if you're a sword knight, you have 0 griffins, that's really weird. Yeah, well, yeah, you should be honorable sometimes. Even if
Overlord was so often on those awards. I wouldn't hold that against them.
right, but I mean, that's what the awards are supposed to be. So we should give all the support awards out way more often than what we're doing. But that's my 2 cents on that. All right. Well, guys, I think we're gonna call it a night. So thank you all for participating. Guys, if you have questions, please feel free to keep posting them up. Some of our panelists might be able to go back to them, type them, maybe send them a message if you have a question about something very specific. Again, Christine, Morgan, again, Formis, thank you guys for participating tonight.
No problem.
Not a problem.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, have a great night.
You too.
Good night.
Night.
So again, thank you everybody for watching. We'll probably be doing another crown panel, so keep inserting your questions in my forum. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can in the next panel. I have not selected who's going to be next, but we'll be doing another Crown Path AMA. If you want to learn more about specific offices, please feel free to ask those kind of questions as well. All of these people have participated in many different types: monarch, regent, champion, prime minister, whatever. So we're here to help you out, teach you. So have a good night, and thanks for joining in.